All right, Daniel Jones, quarterback of the New York Giants. We talked about him earlier. This is year 3, an important year for him. Co-owner John Mara, recently meeting with the media, addressed the way the team feels about their former top 10 pick.
We think the world of Daniel in this building. I think I've said that publicly before. I know our coaches feel very strong about him. We want to see him take the next step. I don't have any specific benchmarks other than, let's win some more games. I think he will have a better team around him this year than he has had in previous years. So we certainly expect him to take the next step, but I'm not going to put any specific benchmarks on him right now. I want to see him continue to improve because I think he does have what it takes to be a long-term winner in this league.
Like any other owner, you're completely and totally behind your employee who has promise and potential until you're not. It all depends, I believe, on what happens this year, Shireen. I'm not a big fan on the idea that Dave Gettleman's on the hot seat. Joe Judge is only in year 2. The Giants need to be a little more patient. I think that's been one of the problems. John Mara gets impatient every few years, and it freaks out his employees, and they tighten up. Just you got 4 Super Bowl trophies. Go shine them. Go look at them. Go admire them. There's still plenty of teams that don't have one. You got to give things some time, and they got to give Daniel Jones some time. But in today's NFL, time runs out eventually on whether or not your quarterback can play, and I think we're going to learn a lot about Daniel Jones this year.
Yeah, Mike, when these guys used to be drafted high in the first round, they were there for a long time, right? You look at Sam Bradford because they had those huge contracts, and then we got the rookie wage scale, and everything changed. So these guys now are getting 2 and 3 years, and that's it. You look at the Dwayne Haskins and those types of guys, and they've moved on quickly. After they've been a first-round pick, the teams just said, hey, we've got to get better at this position. So I think this is a key year for Daniel Jones to prove he is the guy. I talked about the other day on PFT PM, his record as a starter in college and the pros combined is 25-37. He hasn't proved it yet. He hasn't proved that he can go out and win games as a starter. 8-18 with the Giants, and he just has too many turnovers. That's been the thing for him. But I do agree with John Mara. He does have a better team around him this year. They've done a lot of things in free agency. They guaranteed $120 million. He has Kenny Golladay, and he has some other weapons with Kyle Rudolph. So he's not going to have any excuses. He's out of that now. So go out and get it done. Key year for him this year, Mike.
The Twitter handle is at NFL Shireen for those of you out there who would like to quibble with her suggestion that quarterback wins are indeed a stat. Although we both agree that at some level a good quarterback does help a team win football games, even though wins and losses in and of themselves don't reflect on an overall quarterback's ability. The great ones like Tom Brady. That's the thing. You look at what Tom Brady did last year, and you can't tell me that a great quarterback doesn't count for something when it comes to winning football games, especially the biggest games of the year. But the Giants have been to the playoffs only one time since they won the biggest game of the year 10 years ago in Indianapolis over the New England Patriots, and they really do have a lot of work to do. And I almost sense that there's desperation in the spending that happened this year in free agency. Desperation born of that anxiety created by an impatient owner in John Mara. The money they spent, it didn't feel nearly as strategic, Shireen, as what the Patriots did. It reminds me very much, and I've said this a couple of times recently, of Jerry Reese the year that he was on the hot seat before he eventually got fired, when he went out and he signed Janoris Jenkins, Olivier Vernon, Snacks Harrison, money to make the defense better. I feel like this year it was just money anywhere and everywhere to address some of these weaknesses that they can't address them all in the draft. Let's go out and spend. Even if we're spending more than we should, let's just go spend because we've got to make the team better, because if we don't, people are going to be fired.
Yeah, and they feel like they've done that. And the jury's still out on whether they have or not at this point, Mike. But, if I was and I don't know why, because you look at Washington and I think they're better than what they were. And I think the Cowboys, as we pointed out, have the best quarterback in the division. But if I today was going to pick a team I thought was going to win the division, I think I would pick the Giants. And I don't know why. Again, it's just a feeling I have. maybe it's Joe Judge. I really like what he did in his first season. I think the players, he's different than other Bill Belichick assistants. I just feel like after 1 year that have come into this league. And I just think he did a really good job. And maybe that's where I put my confidence in this team. But today, if I had to pick a favorite for the division, I would pick the Giants.
Wow. Let's write that down. April 2nd, and it's not April 1, so she really means it. Thank God April Fool's Day is over. By the way, folks, let me peel back the curtain a little bit. Shireen was very stressed out that I was going to have some sort of reaction to my second COVID vaccination shot that I received yesterday. And I really considered, not for very long, but I did seriously consider for a short period of time the possibility of texting her between the 6 and 7 a.m. Eastern time hour, 5 and 6 a.m. Central for her, that I really wasn't feeling well and she was just going to have to do it by herself today. Because I know that you have been having panic attacks all week over the possibility that I wasn't going to show up today.
I knew when your second shot was, Mike. It was Thursday, and I kept saying, you better not be sick on Friday. I just knew it was going to happen. But glad you're feeling well and glad you're here, or at least faking it. Maybe it's just fake feeling well.
Don't jinx it yet. We still have 90 minutes to go. And sorry, Eagles fans, we addressed the quarterbacks in the other three teams in your division, but we've said all we can say about the Eagles quarterbacks, and you get to a point if you're an Eagles fan where you don't want to hear anymore.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.